Hello everyone friends. This is the second part about games, and today in the review, Life and Death on the Road. The best survival strategy in space. What is Okarina and what does time have to do with it? Horror and battles in a single town. How to train real monsters. A crowbar once or a headcrab in the eye. And so much more in this release. Since this is the final video about 1998, be sure to watch it to the end. Let's summarize and tell about the next issues. Your comments and likes help a lot in the development of the channel. Thank you so much for not forgetting about it, and we are starting. The greatest game of the century. Best game of the decade, most popular new game of the year. One of the best computer games in history. This is all about the game that changed the world. This is the space real-time strategy, StarCraft, from the Blizzard company. 3 epic worlds, 3 great races and endless war. Players were invited to join the epic battle for one of 3 races presented by the developers, Terran, Zerg or Protoss. The fantastic intergalactic world was not so simple. It had many differences, features and rules. Completing the game for each of the races was not an easy walk. This is what the fans of the game saw as the undeniable advantages of the innovative space strategy. Gamers liked computer history so much that its life continued outside the gaming universe. Many books, comics have been written, board games have been published, souvenirs with the symbols of the game, and toys with images of the main characters are successfully sold. StarCraft, and in our time, is more alive than all living things. Cyber sports tournaments are regularly held in the world. Fan communities are actively promoting their collectible products on the market. The ingenious creation of young programmers of the 90s from Blizzard has already stepped over its time, and who knows what other surprises await us ahead. In 1998, the next, 5th in a row, video game from the series about Princess Zelda and the first one presented to gamers in 3-dimensional format was released on the Nintendo platform. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is a very successful adventure story. The events take place in the fictional kingdom of Hyrule. The protagonist of the plot, supporter and protector of the princess, half-elf Link tries to stop the villain and enemy of the princess Ganondorf. A new control system was introduced in the game, which was recognized as exemplary and adopted by many developers. Its genius was in its simplicity: a special guidance system, automatic target acquisition, context-sensitive control allowed the player to solve several problems at once and do different actions through one button. Simple, convenient and effective. The game rightfully entered the history of the genre, became legendary both in demand and in sales. If you love to work exclusively in a team by nature, the computer role-playing game, Baldur's Gate, was created especially for you. Create your main character. Find him a community of like-minded people and embark on the abyss of action-packed trials and adventures in a fantasy fictional world. Many options for armor and weapons, an endless number of enemies, types of magic potions and scrolls with spells. What else is needed to properly spend time and cleanse the universe of terrible villains and disgusting monsters? Baldur's Gate was presented to players on the Windows platform and at the end of the year received many complimentary reviews from players, critics and journalists. Commercially, the game did not disappoint. It sold more than 2 million copies. We continue the second part of the review of the best computer games of '98 and understand that any of the games on our list can and should be described with just one word: a masterpiece. Yes, these are real masterpieces of their time that cannot be repeated or surpassed. And one of these masterpieces is rightfully the game, Half-Life, which in translation sounds like Half-Life. Immediately before our eyes, gloomy pictures of a destroyed scientific laboratory are created, the terrible consequences of a failed experiment by scientists. The first-person shooter game, Half-Life, takes place in a secret research center somewhere in the American mountains. The name of the center is appropriate: Black Mesa. The main character of the story is a young scientist, Gordon Freeman. Severe trials and terrible adventures await him. Let's say in advance that youth will win in the end. Just like the game, Half-Life wins in genre, wins in novelty, technology and presentation. What was so breakthrough and innovative about it? Let's figure it out right now. First, There are no missions and levels, no cutscenes or time gaps when explaining the plot. Gameplay and storyline are now a single whole. Secondly, the enemies gained intelligence. They are now not completely stupid, but rather the opposite, which makes the game natural. Moreover, now the player can find along the way, not only opponents, but also supporters, and the found items can be actively used and adapted to suit their needs. Thirdly, the player is immersed in the atmosphere as much as possible. The main character does not leave for a second, he is always in the very center of events. Sinister and clever, dark and dynamic masterpiece of gaming computer thought, Half-Life showed what a real shooter should be and set a high standard for both developers and gamers. Rikamaru and Ayame. If you know such names, then in the 90s, you actively played these ninja heroes in a fascinating medieval fantasy action movie on the shores of mysterious Japan. Ninja silently crept along the roofs, threw shurikens at opponents, scattered poisoned rice and mercilessly cleared the way from samurai and other enemies. The game Tenchu, Stealth Assassins, which was released on February 26, 1998 on the PlayStation platform, although it did not shine with super graphics, took on a different one. A plot, realistic martial arts, and most importantly, an atmosphere. Characteristic characters, such as an old fat usurer running after a young girl, voluptuously exuding disgusting groans, or a corrupt minister who makes himself harakiri in the presence of the assassin Rikamaru, only added pluses to the plot intricacies. This action-packed stealth action story was very popular in the late 90s, and the developers of the future famous assassin must have learned a lot from this game. Another famous stealth novelty of 1998, Thief, the Dark, strongly encouraged players to be secretive and invisible. The main character, a talented thief Garrett, travels across locations, opposes the boss of the Thieves Guild, Ramirez, learns a lot about the secret order of the Guardians and even temporarily loses his eye in an almost class and irreconcilable struggle with the god of the pagans. A gorgeous story with stunning sound effects in a mixed world of medieval and fantasy is Defy Nightly, worth our attention and your attention, as we continue. The football fans were jubilant. New Football Simulator 1998 release, FIFA 99 inches did not disappoint. Immediately, all the best clubs, leagues and cups were waiting for fans on the discs of this football computer game. It could be played on 3 different platforms at once: PlayStation, Nintendo, and personal computers. New unique leagues, beautifully improved graphics, realistic team kits. Football fans were jubilant. The simulator gave gamers the opportunity to create their own football tournaments and choose teams. Jubilant stadiums, true sporting spirit and the pleasure of passing and winning, all this is FIFA 99. Friends, write in the comments your favorite game in 98. Do not forget to put your thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, this is very important for us. Do you love RPGs the way I do? Let's play tonight. Perhaps this is how he addressed his wife, designer Soraya Sage, Tetsuya Takahashi, the developer of the Japanese company, Square County. The couple's fantasies have led to the premiere of Xenogears, a wonderful fantasy RPG on the PlayStation platform, with an exciting adventure set on a mysterious fictional planet. This game is one of the 15 best games on PlayStation. The couple, however, were a little upset. They came up with their developments to continue the well-known bestseller, Final Fantasy VII, but fate decreed otherwise and the game was released as an independent product. For Takahashi it was the finest hour, the success of Xenogears, prompting him to found his own company, Monolith Soft, which is now the first planned developer for Nintendo. Role-playing computer games. The Japanese loved this theme with all their hearts, and they had no equal in this genre in 1998. On September 30th, in the USA, and then around the world, sales of the computer bestseller, Pokémon, Blue and Red versions, Pokémon Red version and Blue version, started. In Japan itself, gamers have been actively playing Pocket Monsters for 2 years now, exactly since February 1996. But now the Pokémon have opened up to the rest of the world. Hooray! Children all over the world immediately became great trainers, and concentratedly raised their pupils' Pokémon, preparing them for battles. It was much more interesting to play in the multiplayer mode. You could exchange your Pocket Monsters for rival monsters. The average schoolboy of that time was just raving about Pokémon of different stripes and characteristics, especially in Japan. At the same time, a game with yellow Pokémon, Pokémon Yellow version, Special Pikachu Edition, was released. The world-recognized Pikachu. The word Pokemon has become somewhere a household word, and somewhere even a dirty word. There were still happy times. Pokemon. To battle. The developers of Banjo-Kazooie really wanted to replicate the great commercial success of Super Mario, but failed. Mario remained undefeated, and Banjo-Kazooie became known to the world as another very solid and popular game on the Nintendo platform. Cute characters, Banjo Bear and Kazuya Bird immediately fell in love not only with children, but also with adults. Competitions and confrontation of the main characters with the witch Gruntilda throughout the story, in 9 different game worlds, were amazingly exciting. Puzzles, tests, arcades. Great controls, superb sound, graphics and design. The novelty of the company, Nintendo, was to the taste of many. The commercial success and excellent reviews put this game at the highest line in the gaming top parades in '98. Another racing game for an amateur appeared on the shelves of game stores on November 30, 1998. The game, Carmageddon II, Carpocalypse Now, where you had to either defeat everyone, or crush everyone, or even better, defeat and crush at the same time. Destruction of opponents, pedestrians and even animals in the game during the race was only welcomed. Players were waiting for 29 races and 11 missions. The car could improve armor, power and attack characteristics. Carpocalypse music group, Iron Maiden, could not make everything, but judging by sales, a strong mental health in '98 year, features many gamers. They played this game, as they say, and went. And we are moving on. One of the most beloved games of all time, Tekken 3, the world-famous history of the fighting game genre, the genre of combat and martial arts, was also released in '98. The version introduced new items, 15 new characters, each of them with their own style, their own signature techniques and strikes. Improved graphics compared to previous versions, enhanced combos, great airstrikes, all this as Tekken 3. Martial arts arenas were located in different locations. This is a Shaolin monastery in the coast of a tropical island, the streets of Hong Kong or a military complex. Get ready for the big fight, champions. Now we will see who is faster and stronger in martial arts. Gape a little, press the button at the wrong time and that's it, start over. The whole family fought in Tekken 3. The women chose Anna, Nina or Julia, the children of the dinosaur Gon or the wooden man, the fathers of the powerful ogre families. Tekken 3 Inches gave people the positive emotions and is widely regarded as the greatest game in the history of the platform, PlayStation. 1998 is also notable for the fact that it was the year of the beginning of the decline of the whole game genre. Grim Fandango has become LucasArts' brightest quest game in 3D, and it is also the latest in the genre. An extremely beautiful and stylish story in the spirit of black humor about the afterlife and the wanderings of Manuel Calavera, the main character of the narrative, has received high praise from critics and many prestigious industry awards. But this did not affect the decline of the quest genre, and the game, Grim Fandango, was preserved in history as a canon of the genre and an example of a past glorious past. In the genre of survival horror, in the style of cold sticky horror and fear, several games were released in 1998. Let's dwell on 2 of them. The first passed almost unnoticed, but the second is known throughout the world. Parasite Eve 2 Inches released this year on the gaming platform, PlayStation. NYPD trainee Aya is confronted with strange and terrifying events while attending the opera. Humanity is in danger. Her main mission is to investigate the conspiracy of mitochondria. Imagine mitochondria. The writer's fantasy knows no bounds. And this is 1998. Mitochondria give birth to monsters at the speed of light. The clouds are gathering. The most important monstrous creature, the king of mitochondria, should soon be born. Do you think mitochondria captivated the audience? Not at all. But the second game. But more about it. Raccoon City. The monstrous T-virus broke free. People have turned into zombies and prowl the streets of the city with one goal, to grab their teeth into the victim. The main culprit of all troubles is the pharmaceutical corporation, Umbrella. Doesn't it look like anything? In its depths, monstrous forbidden experiments were carried out and this is what it led to. The virus broke free. This is how the 1998 masterpiece, Resident Evil 2 Inches begins. Young police officer Leon and student Claire are the main characters of the story. They have to get out of the city, defeat all the zombies, reveal the monstrous secret of the corporation and thereby save the world. In the process of passing the game, the characters solve various tasks and puzzles, pump weapons, save the necessary items and ammunition, and there are not so many of the latter. Therefore, the heroes do not always engage in fights, sometimes they just have to run away from zombies and monsters. Resident Evil 2 is the great masterpiece of survival horror computer games. Where, and in this game there was enough atmosphere of fear, whipping up horror, anxiety and hopelessness. The story has become a cult story not only because of the features of the gameplay, exciting storyline, atmosphere, but also because of its commercial success. The sales of the novelty were comparable to the proceeds of the leaders of the film distribution in '98. Not many people know, but serious financial sums were invested in the tremendous success of the game. On the advertising campaign, Resident Evil 2, it was spent $5 million. In 1998, a breakthrough was finally made in the Russian gaming industry. This year, a game appeared, which for the first time became famous not only in our country, but also in the world. The name of this game is Allods, Seal of Mystery. Allods, a fictional universe, disintegrated into worlds as a result of unsuccessful magical experiences and actions. There are 4 main characters in the game: 2 men and 2 women, warriors and magicians, 5 schools of magic, 50 types of monsters, the ability to participate in a multiplayer game for up to 16 people. The game, Allods, rightfully takes its rightful place among the game bestsellers this year. Friends, it's time to summarize the reviews for 1998 and talk about the next issues. Talking about the bright and extraordinary 98 meters, we tried to convey to you the most interesting and significant events. Events from the world of sports, science and technology, music, films, theatrical and social life, unusual records, natural disasters, great games and much more were remembered here with you in the last 5 reviews. We tried to tell you about the most interesting, but if anything, you missed it, be sure to write in the comments what exactly. So, it's time to move on, and from the next issue we begin a review of 1999, the last year of the 20th century, in which there were also a huge number of bright events, and we will try to tell you about the best of them. If you enjoy our travels in the past, do not forget to rate our videos, write comments, press your thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Only your support will determine how far we can go along the path of memories, and see you soon, friends.